The previous two verses have been concerned with the distinction between mind with a small, spelt with a small m, and mind only, or simply mind with a capital M. The next verse is a culmination of the direction that the previous two verses were pointing to. And it might be worth reviewing the previous two videos and taking a look at them if you haven't done so already. In a way, this next verse, 568, is the spiritual equivalent of the grand unified field theory. The physicists, I'm thinking of the Japanese physicist Michio Kaku, they want to be able to describe everything in a single equation. Well, this next verse describes it all in a single verse. So let's have a look at verse 568. As a sword cannot cut itself, or as a finger cannot touch its own tip, mind cannot see itself. Mind is awareness. And it's this awareness as enlightenment practitioners that we need to always be reminded of. This mind with a capital M is awakening. And this awakening is constantly being supplanted by sleep. Awareness needs to be aware of something. And hence we've got this constant stream of experiencing. It's a big bang of creativity. There's stuff going on. A constant stream of stuff. And awareness focuses on bits of this stuff. It discriminates some bits of this stuff from the rest of this stuff. And as this process goes on, certain notions coalesce. Notions of stuff that can be experienced and somebody to experience this stuff. And that stuff to be experienced we normally call the world. And the one that's experiencing this stuff we normally call me. And in this coalescing of world and me, that primordial awareness is forgotten. We're constantly caught up in all this stuff, whether we're asleep or awake. There's all this stuff going on. This is the stuff of consciousness. It's the constant outpouring of consciousness. As enlightenment practitioners, we've realized the nature of this consciousness once again, this awareness. This awareness that cannot be aware of itself. Mind with a capital M, which cannot see itself. It can, though, realize itself once again because of the contrast with having forgotten itself. Having forgotten itself in the constant stream of experiencing and this coalescing of notions of a world and an individual who's experiencing that world. This stream of experiencing has a very powerful flow. It sucks awareness into it. It lulls it to sleep once again. And it's then that mind cannot be known, because it's only things in the stream of experiencing that can be known. Mind itself is what is doing the knowing. Mind itself is the starting point for everything. And we can come back to this starting point, because mind itself is what is operating right now. There's all this stuff going on which you can direct your attention to, or let your attention be sucked into it, or you can allow the attention to be at rest, allowing it to rest on what I refer to as a sense of being, or simply being. This is the practice. This is the realization. And the next verse is described as a state of imagelessness. Imageless means there's been a stepping back from this stream of experiencing. There's been an awakening. But before I look at that verse, there is one question which arises, and that is, what's the relationship then between mind, and a capital M, and this stream of experiencing? Are they two separate things? It's easy to build up the picture of this little eye in the center of the storm. This little oasis of calm surrounded by this storm of activity. Well, it's actually the other way around. If you think of the eye of the storm and this cyclone of activity going round about, it's actually the other way around. It's like the deep ocean and the waves. Or it's like the mind of the dreamer. Is the mind of the dreamer any different from the mind itself? When the dreamer wakes up, the dream becomes very unimportant. The dreamer is no longer sucked into the dream. So the thing is, this mind with a capital M is no different from the stream of experiencing. The stream of experiencing has simply realized its own nature. And this realization is ultimately bigger than the stream itself. It's like the eye of the storm is actually what is going on round about, and the pool, the vortex that sucks us in, is that little bit in the middle. They've actually swapped around the storm and the eye. The eye is actually where the storm is, and the storm is actually where the eye is. So the storm is actually a little vortex in a sea of calm, a sea of stillness, of peace. And there's still these little vortices. This is what is normally referred to as the alaya vijnana. So I'll finish off by reading verse 569. In the state of imagelessness, there is no reality, no Parikalpita, no Paratantra, no 5 Dharmas, no twofold mind. So there's no reality. There's no constructed reality. There's no coalesced reality of a world out there and an individual here experiencing that world. This is actually the twofold mind, which is the final item in this list. In fact, they all refer to that in some ways. Parikalpita is the understanding that we have of a world, that world being the Paratantra, which is the conventional understanding of the world, the so-called objective world. There are no 5 Dharmas. The 5 Dharmas take us from this being sucked in to these coalesced realities of the Parikalpita and Paratantra to suchness. So it's like a path. The 5 Dharmas are a path, but in enlightenment practice we arrive at suchness and there is no longer any path and no twofold mind. It's sometimes described as twofold egolessness. And this is the idea that the world out there has substance and that there's some reality to the me here, to me here. But there's no such thing. So this is a state of imagelessness. It's the realization of mind itself. It's the realization of pure awareness once it's freed itself from all the things it can be aware of, which is the whole universe basically. We free ourselves from the whole universe. And this is the great peace that passes all understanding.